You know how everyone daydreams? Like when you're zoning out in class or imagining what you do if you won the lottery. That's normal. But for some people, daydreaming isn't just a quick mental break. It's hours of living in an inner world that feels more vivid and rewarding than real life. That's what we call maladaptive daydreaming. And once you know about it, you'll probably start recognizing it in people, maybe even in yourself. So let's start with what this actually looks like in real life. Imagine someone pacing back and forth for 2 or 3 hours, completely lost in an ongoing story in their head. They might even be whispering dialogue or acting out scenes with imaginary characters. Or maybe someone puts the same song on repeat for hours because it perfectly soundtracks the world they're creating in their imagination. That song becomes the background music for their inner movie that they're creating. These daydreams aren't just casual thoughts like, oh, it'd be nice to go on vacation here, or it would be cool if I could be around this person. These are immersive. They're structured, almost like a TV series running in your mind. Except you're the writer, the director, and the star of the show. And it can be very hard to turn off. The tricky part is that it can take up huge amounts of your time. Schoolwork, job, responsibilities, relationships, they can all start to slide because the inner world feels safer and more rewarding than the outer one. Let's get into the science a little bit, into the brain science. So we all have something called the default mode network, or the DMN network for short, or the DMN for short. This is the part of the brain that lights up when we're not focused on a task. It's active when we're daydreaming, imagining, remembering, reminiscing, or reflecting. In maladaptive daydreaming, the DMN doesn't just flicker on, it dominates. The brain gets pulled inward and attention gets hijacked by imagination. Then there's dopamine. Every time you enter your fantasy world, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine. That feeling of comfort, control, or excitement that you experience, the brain loves reward loops. So it keeps pulling you back in, reinforcing the cycle. And here's the deeper part. For many people, maladaptive daydreaming starts as a coping mechanism. So when real life feels overwhelming, painful, or unsafe, and I think sometimes just boring, the brain says, okay, we'll build a safer or more interesting reality in here. There's also an ADHD connection because ADHD brains struggle with regulating attention. They can get pulled into these immersive daydream loops more easily and then have trouble pulling themselves back out. You might be asking yourself, why does this happen? Because it works. Daydreaming provides relief. It's soothing, it's creative, it's under your control. No one knows you're doing it unless you tell them. In a world where so much feels unpredictable and out of our control, the fantasy world bends to your rules. But the double edge is that while you're escaping into that world, hours slip by. Real life goals and relationships don't get attention. People often feel ashamed or frustrated afterward, like they lost time they can't get back. I think the best metaphor is this: it's like a secret Netflix series in your head. You're the only one watching, but you can't always hit pause. And what do we do with all this? Well, first, it's important to understand that maladaptive daydreaming isn't about killing your imagination. Discussing this topic doesn't mean that imagination is the problem. The problem is when imagination starts replacing life instead of enriching it. Some strategies that can help are grounding practices, like using your senses to pull you back into the present, like naming 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, so on and so forth. Structured creative outlets can be very effective, such as writing, art, or music, can give the fantasy world a healthy place to land outside your head. And then therapy and trauma work. If daydreaming started as a way to escape pain, then healing that pain reduces the brain's need to keep running away. The thing is, your imagination isn't a bad thing. It's powerful. Maladaptive daydreaming is your brain's way of protecting you when the world feels too heavy. It built you a refuge. But with the right support, you don't have to live only in that refuge. You can learn to use that same creative engine, not to escape your life, but to build a life worth staying present for. Thanks for being here tonight. I'll see you next time.